pull out your notebooks because hopefully we're going to give you lots of words of wisdom. We were going to start you off with a YouTube video, but technology is not my friend this morning. So y'all just look at me. Just kidding. Just going to give you a big inspirational video, but so
give us a song and dance.
You know what?
we're going to give you a song and dance later. You
Let me
wait.
ask you a question. Will that video mean anything in the afternoon? Maybe we start the afternoon off with that video.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay. So I am going to ask y'all. You have phones, yes?
Yes.
Take them out and put them on silent and put them away.
Cindy.
Some of you guys thought Sharita was a tough chick.
Okay, I have to learn how to keep mine open. They're having very light. My daughter.
Oh,
And I'm here.
I know, good for you. I know. Give yourselves a big round of applause for being here this morning. Right? Because you could be doing other things, and for our long distance friends, wherever you came from, thank you for being here.
Yay!
Hold on.
I think it was nice for you guys to come. You know, I don't think you guys have ever been down here.
No, I like it.
And no one's ever come in and hung out with us, so this was a little bit different. Just so you guys know, I was a little nervous about it, but it's all good. No, I was nervous. I'm always nervous. My team will tell you I'm nervous. I'm even nervous when we're by ourselves. I'm always nervous, but I want you guys to know that my prayer warriors prayed so that our day would be great. I never want to mess up or not do something right. I think that's why I'm always kind of nervous.
Yep, right?
But yeah, that's just me. That's just me. But I'm very honored to have you all join us today, this morning, and then the rest of the game this afternoon. So thank you for making the sacrifice.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yes, absolutely. And then if you're wondering where our home office friend is, she's terribly sick, and they wouldn't let her on a plane. So,
Oh, no.
but you know what? That means people aren't watching us.
We're not going live on our side.
Oh,
Maybe a few secrets?
oh, maybe.
Maybe they can send us gifts because we really feel bad that she's not here.
There's target gifts here.
Yeah, there's lots.
More?
Those are gonna get what.
So without further delay, the person who is leading the pack in the region for a lot of growth, sunflower sales, jumping on the train, Miss Sharita.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So we are in a room with all leaders, right? So everyone in this room is a manager or above, and I am honored to speak to you this morning. So this meeting this morning is for you and for you guys only, okay? And that's why you were invited to come. Believe it or not, this is Happy New Year to Tupperware. So November technically starts our new year. So whatever happens in November leads you into the next year. So starting now and not waiting until January, you're going to see the difference by getting started now. So just treat November like your January, okay? Jam-pack your November, make it be the best it could be, and then a little bit of that spills over into December. You have that break, and then you blow it out of the water come January. But if you wait until December to try to plan your January will go by the wayside, okay? So all of you in here are the ones that are going to be the cheerleaders. Okay, so if you're a manager, and my Sunflower Sales team knows this, if you're a manager, star manager, executive manager, you're a head cheerleader, okay? And it's your job to make sure you're rallying your troop. You get your squad on board, you make sure they're at the meetings, they get their parties going, they get started the right way. If you're a director in here, you're that captain of that cheerleading squad. So you're that team captain. Okay, and so the captains, they have to do a little bit more than the head cheerleader. The captains have to set the tone. They've got to put together meetings outside of the organizational, company-wide, recognitional kind of stuff. They do things on that smaller scale for their direct team, right? And then us business leaders are your coach. We are the coach. So we are the ones that are coaching our team to victory. Okay. So you'll find that when I talk today, a lot of what I talk about has to do with a team, game day, okay? We hit home runs, we score touchdowns, we hit 3-point shots. I got it all together. I don't know anything what soccer does, so don't ask me. I don't know, I'm sure they do something that's important. Oh, there you go, goal. So I'm sure they do something. And I don't know what tennis does, you gotta win matches. So I guess matches mean quarters. So if we wanna take it into tennis, we'll put our quarters into the tennis match, right? Okay, so there's a few things that you as a leader should remember that you should always carry with you, okay? And so I think that your business leaders all gave you a checklist, a new consultant checklist. And then I know Roberta made some copies, but where did you put those? Did you put them in that envelope that you gave me? Oh, really? And where did I put that envelope?
Now you sound like a someplace safe.
Keys are in my boots. Because my key is important. It's a white envelope.
I have a few, Sharita.
Okay, so each one of you guys' checklist looks different from ours because envelope's right here. Just right where I left it. Do me a favor, just make sure. Now, did you guys all make checklists for your peeps, or do they need to just have a copy of mine? They got their checklist? Okay, you guys got your checklist? So there's a few things that you as a leader should always have. You should always have a new consultant checklist. Okay, so I want you guys to all pull it out. Roberta made some extra copies for anyone who could not make them. Another thing that you want to make sure is, as a leader, you should have some form of a folder where you're always carrying your say yes, any of the current information, and you should print out at the beginning of every month the party perks. You should absolutely print that out. Whether you print out the 4-pager or print out the 1 page that shows everything, you need to have that at hand, because remember, your consultants are going to talk to you first before they even talk to the business leader. Unless you have a consultant that bypasses you, which some do, I always redirect mine back to their manager or to their director. I think building the relationship, remember, managers, you're that head cheerleader. The relationship with your squad is huge. You partner with your captain because that's going to make your squad the best. The coach is just there to oversee and make sure all the plays are done correctly. And the coach will step in should a player needs to be coached. Okay, do you guys understand that? So we as business leaders don't want to have a better relationship with your consultants than you do. And that starts from the day you sign them up. All right, so this is what I'm going to tell you. So I told you the things you need to carry with you all the time, right? So for example, Tiffany. If Tiffany recruited Margaret, right, then Tiffany's going to make sure that she takes out her checklist. And the very first thing, the first page, she's going to make sure that Margaret does everything she needs to do from that first page. You notice I didn't say Louise. Who did I say? Tiffany. And Tiffany, because why? She recruited Margaret. Tiffany and Margaret's relationship is better than Margaret and Louise, because right now, Margaret only knows Tiffany. Does that make sense? Yeah. She only knows Tiffany. Tiffany brought her in. So Tiffany's got to make sure she gets started. And so I'm going to share this again because I see it happening with us. Don't set up people's accounts. Don't set up people's accounts. Don't set up your new consultant's accounts. Do not set up your new consultant's accounts. Let them set their own account up, and if you have to be there with them, sit next to them, talk to them over the phone, guide them through. Do not set up their account. They miss everything when you do it. They miss that initial video, all of that. You end up giving them their 11-digit for their username, and instead of letting them pick their own username, don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. You want to make sure that you help them get that done, and then you talk to them about a kickoff event. Even if someone is coming in to be a personal shopper, they should still do some form of we call it a kickoff event. You might call it a grand opening. Remember, not everyone's coming in to get their business started. Maybe they bought a kitchen starter set. You guys like that? Maybe they bought a kitchen starter set and they need something for their kitchen, but they want to do a kickoff to their friends and sit and show, look what I just bought for my kitchen. Okay? So you want to remember that. Also, remember this. Not everyone is privileged to be able to join Tupperware at the $39 down payment. Stop allowing everyone to come in at the down payment if they're not going to do a kickoff event. Okay, so I'm going to use this as an example. Say Pam contacted Michelle on Michelle's website. And she wanted to sign up, but realized it was $99 to sign up online, but if she signed up directly with Michelle, it would be $39. Now, if Michelle can't get Pam to do a kickoff event or come into the business with at least 5 orders, should we allow Pam to join with a $39 option? Because remember, Michelle doesn't know her. What's the answer to that question?
Nope.
You should never, but it happens all the time. And what happens is Pam walks off with this opportunity kit. She never calls Michelle back. She ends up on that list and she owes Tupperware money and goes to collections for $60.
You're not sorry, Pam.
I'm not sorry.
You don't know me.
Goes to collections for $60.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what happens is your company is now red flagged for however many people are in collections, and then they will shut off the down payment for the entire company. Whoa. Whoa. And then we get notified. And whoa. Now you're messing with everybody else's livelihood because of you're allowing people to come in at the discounted rate.
Thanks, Pam.
I promise.
Okay? So we want to be in charge of that. We want to make sure we're paying attention to that, please. And remember, as a head cheerleader, you are telling your squad how they should be recruiting, okay, so that everyone does the same thing. Everyone does the same thing, okay? You want to make sure you remember that. So, you got all your tools that you're carrying, you got your first page of your checklist. On the second page of the checklist, there's just a few more things that people follow, right? So I think by the time they get to the second page of the checklist, they're probably getting their welcome letters, choosing what kind of website, setting them up to get their $1,000 in their first 60 days. Did you guys know that the life expectancy of a new consultant is 60 days? Oh, okay, good. I'm glad you all knew that. Do you know that if they don't get going after 60 days, they could walk out the door? Okay, so you're dealing with 60 days. So right from the beginning, you want to do that. And if any of you are doing it, hats off. I know that in our company, we have one team for sure that they do kickoff parties for all their people, and that's my newest org leader here, Cindy. They only do Tupperware parties, and everyone below her knows that the Tupperware party is huge. Doesn't take away from anyone else, but Cindy's been around as long as me, so that's all she knows, right? But when you get new school people coming in, they come in with, I think under Cindy's group, they have one manager that only has done Facebook parties. She's done her very first Tupperware party recently, right? But all of that was kind of a little, trying to get herself self-confidence kind of deal. And then I know we had another manager that came in doing a lot of Facebook parties, but threw herself into Tupperware parties, and that was Crystal. Okay, so what I'm saying is, you want to make sure you get people started the right way. And remember, there's no wrong Tupperware party, okay? Tupperware parties can be however you want the Tupperware party to be, all right? So, now that you know you got your party perks, you've got that checklist, the next thing is confident start, okay? Are you making sure your new consultants have taken out their roadmap and they have circled everything they want? Okay, everything that they want, that's huge. Now, I'm gonna share with you that I'm pushing this in my company. We haven't quite mastered it. So I don't think any of them will tell you we have this mastered. Is this checklist is not mastered. But I'm gonna share with you. If Tiffany brought in Margaret, and Margaret brought in Sarah, Margaret should make sure she has a checklist so that she's keeping track of what Sarah's doing. And guess what? Tiffany happens to be the squad leader, so she should be chatting with Margaret. She should be hanging out, making sure Margaret understands that Sarah should be getting her stuff done on her checklist. But Louise, when Sarah starts, she's gonna personally call Sarah and welcome her to her team. Did you guys hear that? Did anybody understand? Did we miss that? Is it good? Okay. I never told you that Tiffany was gonna call Sarah. Do you guys notice that? I didn't say for Tiffany to call Sarah. I said for the head cheerleader. captain. The captain to call Sarah. Every captain of every team should personally call every new consultant that joins in their team and welcome them to the business. They should definitely do that, because now you're forming that bond. And if Louise called and Tiffany called and Margaret already called, Sarah's like, how many people gonna call me? I don't need all these people calling me. What did I join, a cult?
I said that.
I'm serious. I'm just wanting you to know how we get this. That's why you let your captain do it. And then guess what? Tiffany will meet Sarah when she comes to the rally. Because what's Tiffany's job? She's the head cheerleader. She's the rah-rah. Oh my gosh, Sarah, I'm so happy you're here. Thanks for coming. My name is Tiffany. Okay? Sarah will be happy to meet Tiffany at that time. Because guess what? She only talked to she only talked to Louise. She knows Margaret, but now it makes sense because she's at the meeting. And she knows, oh, Tiffany's the manager of this group, but this is our director. People understand that when they show up, but they don't understand when all these people are bombarding them. Okay, you want to make sure. So every captain in this room should be personally calling every new person that joins underneath them. Okay, and then we take care of our overflow, because we have an overflow. We have our own personal team, and so we do the same. Okay, but I don't personally call anyone that joins under any of my director team. I let the directors handle that, and then I meet them for the first time. Guess where? At Success Class in Raleigh. Whatever comes first. Because I hold all the success classes every single Monday. So I get to meet new people when they join me on Zoom. And then I meet them at the rally. But I don't have to personally call them. They get to know me on Success Class. So that at Success Class is I'm helping them build their business, learning all their tools, and I encourage them at the end of Success Class to do homework to refer back to their manager and director. Now be sure you let them know what your 5 takeaways are. I don't know if they do it or not, but at least I tell them. But the relationship now is established, okay? So those are some of the things that you want to make sure you're on top of, because those are the most important. A new consultant is most important when they first say yes. They come in the door because the first what? 6 days is the most important, okay? And they should be getting their sales and not having to pay for their kid or getting their money back, having some fun, coming to whatever the next meeting is, cooking class, whatever you're doing. Get them there, because the head cheerleader is going to make sure they're there. That's their job. Just get them there, get them there, get them there, get them there. You don't have to do anything else but get them there. Okay? Now, your head cheerleader in this room, you want to make sure, the other thing you want to make sure is you attend all of whatever your business leader events are, a leader meeting, whatever they call it, director board, I don't know, whatever people call their stuff different. All of our leaders get together once a month on Zoom, and then I chat with my directors each week, and then we have a director call once a month. And so your business leader probably has something set up for you, however you guys do it. But remember, you want to participate in that checklist, and you're bringing in those new people. You should be what? What does this mean? Extending the hand and figuring out who the next person is that you're going to get to join you as a head cheerleader. Because no head cheerleader wants to be by themselves. They want their squad, they want their team to be big, and they want little squads inside. So how many of you here have a manager underneath you? Raise your hand.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, so keep working at that. Okay, how many of you have 2 managers underneath you? Okay, how many of you have 3? Not you. Put your hand down, honey bun. Not the directors. I want the man to start over.
She's in this mode new.
Start over. No directors, raise your hand. So let's start over. Managers. How many of you managers have a manager underneath you? Okay, how many of you have 2? Keep your hand up. How many of you have 3? Aha! Look at
Yay,
you!
Margaret.
That's exciting. So I'm going to share something with you. You should be extending your hand and building a leader underneath you at all times. At all times. Because remember, Tupperware did something beautiful for you guys, and you get credit 3 levels deep. So you will forever be paid and will stay entitled if you keep extending the hand and building leaders below you. Okay? Don't get comfortable because you have 1. Don't get comfortable with 2. always have 3 because people's lives change and people disappear for different reasons. And you don't ever want to be in a situation, hold that thought, you don't ever want to be in a situation to where now it's just you and your personal team and you feel a little struggle. Okay, because then struggle brings, your heart hurts and then you bring like defeated, you feel like you're defeated, you're a failure. You don't want to feel like that because you can go through this camel thing, but we want to live in the valley. We don't want to hang down in the ocean all the time. We want to be up on the mountaintop. And so being on the mountaintop, that starts with you. And every single manager in this room should make sure they're recruiting every single month personally. And then going from there. So you had a question.
I did. So
Yes.
I have a consultant who recruited a person, she's not a manager. Does that person count as a second layer below me or? Okay.
That's your level 2.
Thank you.
So now you're building levels. Tupperware gave you the benefit to make money 3 levels deep. I'd build my level 3 levels deep. Absolutely. Okay, it keeps you where you need to be. I'm gonna tell you that you will struggle if you don't have levels. Because if you're not personally holding parties, remember, a life expectancy of a new consultant is 60 days. The 3 that got you there are not gonna be the 3 that keep you. Okay, that's like something I say all the time. So let me just make sure I covered everything that I was supposed to cover. Does anyone have any questions about anything I said? Okay, so you're going to want to pull out your calendar. Your business leaders all provided you with a calendar. I have a calendar for all of you guys too, so one second. Samantha's going to talk to you about that, but just let me just make sure that I'm not missing something. Do you guys all realize how you make money or understand where your money comes from? Is there anyone in here that does not know about their money? And I don't want to waste anyone's time if that's what you already know. So I'm going to share something with you. And this is something that I talked to Pam and Samantha about. They know where my heart is when it comes to the manager and kind of what we do at Sunflower Sales. So you as a manager, you make money, your profit plus and your Vanguard bonus, correct? Okay. Remember that money is yours. That money belongs to you. That's your compensation for being a head cheerleader. If you're being a great head cheerleader and you're leading the cheers and you're rallying the troops, then you take that money and do whatever you need to do with it. I don't believe that managers need to worry about gifting anybody anything. Your job is to be a head cheerleader, to rally the troops, get them to rally, and make sure they're having fun. Okay? Just remember that. As a manager, you're making profit plus and a Vanguard bonus. Some cases it could be a couple $100, some cases it could be $100, some cases it could be $200 or $300. Depends on how much your sales are, right? So managers, you're just getting your feet wet, right? When you become a star manager, anybody in here a star manager? Star manager means that you want to make a little extra money. You've taken on a little bit of extra responsibility. You might have a manager underneath you now, right? So you should make sure that you're hanging out and partnering with your new manager and make sure that new head cheerleader knows the ropes. You guys are like best buds, okay? You're best buds. Now you're going to take care of yours, and she's going to take care of, or he's going to take care of theirs, correct? And you're still going to partner with your captain. Inside of my backpack is my calendars. I'm trying to have somebody hand them. Okay, they're probably in a rubber band. All right, so how many of you are executive managers? Okay, so executive managers are these. You're either this close to maybe wanting to be a director, or you just want to make a little bit more money and be comfortable at that level. So I'm going to say to you, you need to take care of your squad. Okay? You're kind of like that closest thing to that next director, to work with your director the closest. Okay? You may not wear a title director, but now you probably have a lot of people underneath you. And remember that your director hasn't really gotten to know everybody, but you're going to be like that best, like, you know how the teacher, I hate to say it, the teacher has a teacher pet. You become that pet with your director, okay? Because you guys got a lot going on. So you can be comfortable wherever you are, but just remember the three main things as a manager. You have a one-to-one success program that will keep you there. You want to make sure you're holding your own personal parties. You want to make sure that you personally recruit at least 1 to 2 people every month. And you make sure within your downline, as a manager, you guys should always bring in at least 5. Especially at the star manager level, you should always have at least 5 new people coming in, okay? And then you want to make sure that you're extending a hand and offering that opportunity to move up to at least 1 person every single month, okay? All right, any questions? You guys good? Hopefully what I shared made sense. And was there anybody, this was the first time you heard any of this? Oh. Well, that's good. Maybe we're doing our jobs.
Right?
All right, so without further ado, you guys all have your blank calendars now, right? So we're going to introduce you to Samantha. She's going to come up and she's going to talk to you about some calendaring and stuff. Covered everything. I think I missed it. All right, good job.
Let's give Shrita a big round of applause. You know what I love about what Shrita talked about is just do what you're supposed to, right? Never sit back. I tell my team all the time, earn your paycheck. Because it's not somebody else's job to make your paycheck for you, right? So I think that Tupperware has set us up on a really great plan, but I also know that if you want to keep that paycheck, you better work that plan, right? So I'm going to talk to you guys, my poor team. You all have heard this 1,000 times, so you get to hear it again. So
Okay, let's go to Starbucks.
not nice. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys about calendar. How many of you guys ever feel like my life is a crazy mess, I can't get it all done in one day, and I just need 5 more minutes, 1 more hour, 1 more day, right? Louise and I were saying yesterday we need 1 more day to get ready for today. For those of you that don't know me, I have 3 kids. I always say 17, 13, because he's right here now. He's very proud of that. And then 6, and the 6-year-old's everybody else's best friend. And they keep me super busy. They're in 3 different schools on 3 different schedules at 3 different times.
Oh, wow.
And at 5:15 in the morning, Leandra and I get up and go to the gym at 6 in the morning.
Wow.
Not my choice.
And my husband works 12 to 16-hour days. So I play single mom a lot. And I'm running all the time, but I choose to. I love what this business has provided for me. I started when I was 19. I earned my first car 6 months later and couldn't drive it. So I had to have the cash option because Tupperware doesn't allow you to have the car till you're 21. How many parties do I need to do to get there? And how many parties can I put in my date book to make that happen? That's just a little bit of how you can do planning for your consultants when they have a little bit of a goal. But next year, my family and I were going to Washington, D.C. and New York. So it's going to cost some money, right, to get to both places in a week. And so how much time is it going to take? How much in sales do we need to hit the number for the bonus? And in order to get that, how many parties do I need? So that's what you're kind of, when you're looking at the year. And then if it's going to be the summertime, for example, for this trip, how many parties can I do extra each month? Because for some of you, this is your job. This is what pays your bills. Yes? Maybe. Maybe not. Hopefully one day it could be for you, because I know from experience it has been for us. And so if you can take and do 1 more party extra a month to pay for that, would you do it? If your family could go, my family went to Hawaii this year for 11 days. You want to go to Hawaii and just pay for that? 5 days was for free from Tupperware. So we thought, why not stay extra? My kid's graduating this year. I may never see him again. So,
Oh, you'll see them, they come back.
I'm gonna do So we had to plan extra. Okay, how many of you guys are going to Jubilee? Okay, on average from the West Coast, I hope all of your hands are raised for Jubilee. I'm just saying, because I went to Jubilee with a 2-week-old baby, so it can happen. So I'm just saying. But if you want it bad enough, you'll do it, yes? So if you're planning, maybe your bills pay, or your parties pay for your bills all month long. Do 1 more party to pay for Jubilee. How many parties does it take to get to Jubilee? Does anybody know that?
12.
10 to 12 parties. My team knows because I grind them in there. Yeah, one for Leandra. But so 10 to 12.
How many sets of couple?
Cupperware. How many parties it takes? 10 to 12 parties. So if I know that I need to plan for that now into July, you pay your registration now. There's 2 parties, yes, because it's a little bit of overflow, or 1.5. Then you need to pay for your airfare in April. So are you going to be ready for those 3-4 parties to pay for airfare? And then you have to pay for the hotel and food when you get there. So there's 5 or 6 more parties between April and July, yes? Are you following me?
Yep.
So you got to think about how many parties does it take to hit my goals. And when Sharita talks to you about parties are the foundation of our company, that's what it is. I am not a Facebook person at all, other than videotaping. I don't do Facebook parties because I don't like it. But I don't want to, and that's okay. There's other options out there for everybody. I don't do a lot of fundraisers, but if somebody gave me a fundraiser, would I do it? Yes. I did a custom kitchen this week, $800 later. It just kind of fell in my lap. It was pretty awesome. So you can do different things. It doesn't have to always be parties, because I always say the equivalent of parties. So how many parties, or the equivalent of, is it going to take you to hit your goal? Because when you break it down by parties, when you think, I got to come up with $1,000 to go to Jubilee, that sounds like a lot of money right now, right before Christmas, right? The gym, they asked me the other day, you can take and get a whole membership for $1,000. I'm like, right before Christmas with 3 kids? No, I don't want to do that. But if you think about it based on parties, how can I get there? So then you take your monthly calendar and you start now looking at all of next year. And I look at the whole year, put birthdays in there, Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, all the things that you do goes in first and foremost, because that's when your family is definitely priority. I go to rally every single week. I've only missed 3 in my entire life because all 3 of my kids came on a Tuesday. We used to do rallies on Tuesday. They decided that was a good time. And I only miss it for their birthdays, but I work on my birthdays. Otherwise, I work my business always every day because I choose to. And then I look at each quarter. How is the quarter going to change? We all know Tupperware changes things all the time, right? So pencil it in. Don't put it in a pen. It's going to change. And then you look at the week. And then you look at the day. So when Louise was showing you the week at a glance, do you create room for error too? As silly as it sounds, my week at a glance says, have lunch, pick up children, because I might have forgotten one. Go to the gym. I mean, you have to put nail appointment. How long of a gap do you put in there? I mean, it sounds silly, but you have to do those things, or you're like, yeah, Glenn, let's go to lunch. And you're like, sorry, dude, that's my nail appointment. He's like, I don't care, right? But you still need to make room for those things. Having a date night with your spouse, your significant other. Those things are important. If you don't take care of you, and I was reminded this again last night by somebody, if you aren't taking care of you, how can you take care of you? I don't know, some man, he was just talking away, he was your daddy. If you aren't taking care of you, you cannot take care of other people. And that is so important. Am I slightly selfish sometimes?
No.
You need to be. A little bit. But you have to, because if mama's not happy, nobody's happy. That's just the way it is in my house. And so with that, your daily work plan. Tupperware things that need to be done, because sometimes we spin our wheels, and your guys' might look a little bit different. I'm not sure which ones we printed off, but be the best me today. So what is my priority? I always say my base team. You just heard Sharita talk about that. And we haven't talked about any of our trainings together. We're just doing our thing. But taking care of that base team is important, and letting your managers or your squad leaders, etc., take care of their people. Don't feel like you have to take care of everybody. You need to create loyalty in that. What do you also need to do? You need to follow up with your host. Follow up with your customers. If somebody said, call me back next week, call them back next week. Because if you wait till the following week, guess what? They're gone. You guys know one of the statistics we were taught a long time ago was for every day that passes that you lose somebody's interest. So if I'm going to talk to Tiffany today about being a new consultant, and I'll use Kelly for example. They had a party last night. So Kelly got a recruit last night. If she said, because Kelly's super sweet and soft and she's not going to be pushy on them, so I'll call you in a couple days and then we'll talk about signing up now. I'm sure it helped that Tiffany was there a little bit last night. Tiffany's the opposite of super soft and sweet. We need to do this right now. So don't feel like you're being the pushy Tupperware person. What do they get right now? So if you take care of that person, it'll take care of itself, yes? they would lose out on a pressure cooker for $15 if they didn't sign up last night, right? And then she thinks, oh, I'll call her back in a week. That way she has time to talk to her friends and think about it and talk to her husband. She goes home, honey, I'm going to sign up and sell Tupperware. And they're like, that's stupid. That's what my husband said for about 15 years. So, sometimes you just have to keep doing that, and we forget, so it's okay to put it on a checklist. Personal things that need to be done, whether it be go to the gym, eat lunch, and go to the nail appointment, whatever that is on here. If it's a Halloween, go spend time with your family on Halloween. Don't feel like you have to work. Tupperware calls to make today, that should always include your upline. It should always, now does that mean that you have to call them and ring their phone off the hook? No. Some of us do that, and that's okay. That's the relationship, and it's different. But you should at least message and check in with your upline all the time, right? They know you're working, you know they're working, and you guys have each other's back. That's important. If we don't, bless you, if we don't hear from you, we're going, gosh, I hope they're okay. Sometimes when I don't hear from somebody, they don't come to a meeting, I think, I hope Louise isn't dead on the side of the road somewhere. and that sounds crazy. You would.
While you're driving.
Oh,
Before she dies.
yes. Going down.
What was the last message you sent? This is the...
At the pearly gates. So, that you should be checking in with your leader. And it's okay to say, hey, I went and did this and this happened and I didn't know what to do, because sometimes I can go, hey, Louise, did you think about saying this or that? And you can go back to that person and go, I was thinking about you today. It doesn't have to be, I was talking to my business leader today and she said this. I was thinking about you today, and are you super sure that you're not interested in signing up, because this is what I was thinking? Make it your own, whatever they told you to say, and go and do it. It's okay to call somebody back. You know why? Because then they know you actually care. You're not just doing your job at your Tupperware party. So include your leaders. Include your sideline on here if you have managers to talk to. Your computer, email, Facebook work. How many of you guys get up in the morning and you look at your phone first? How many of you spend way too long on your phone first? Okay, you're killing a ton of time, right? You could be doing something better with your time. We disconnected cable at my house because it was just becoming a waste of time for myself and my kids. So it's up to you what you want in your business, but how many of you guys want a $3,500 paycheck and a free car and a trip to Cuba? Because that's what she's working on right now. But she works her business every single day. But don't kid me, she still has good time with her friends too, and goes out and sees her parents in Almanor and other things. But she's working her business and she has her phone set up in the car to make phone calls too. And then delivering pickups and to do. When you have stuff delivered to your house, which I'm not a huge fan of, I'm just going to say that's a personal opinion, because then I have to find some time to deliver it. So make sure that if it's coming to your house, it's not, oh, sorry, Becky, I'm going to bring that next week for you. I just ran out of time this week. Good luck to keeping that customer, right? So plan for time with that. So a couple more things that I want to share with you. And then Pam's going to talk to you guys about your calendar. When you are...
I think I forgot to tell them something now that I look at my paper.
Okay.
So maybe you can tell them on the calendar, because it has to do with the calendar.
Okay. I'm not picking up what you're throwing down, but okay.
You're not picking it up? Okay, so let me tell you what I forgot to tell you. Okay, so I forgot to tell you one thing, because I just saw it on my notes. I don't live by paper, these notes. But we have a C person in our group, so she did this. Okay, so anyway, so let me tell you, the one thing that I wanted...
It's not Sharita and it's not me.
Our team's over
It's
there.
okay.
Okay, so listen up. So on that calendar that we printed out for you, we printed those out for you. Don't take them home and throw them away.
Thank
please.
you.
So this is kind of the intent for that. So Samantha's telling you some things to do now with this calendar until you get your regular calendar. My vision for the remainder of that calendar is to keep track of all the things going on within your group, so that you know who's doing what on what day. You know how important that is? I know that probably each company has something posted on their company Facebook page, but oh my God, there's so much on the Facebook page that things get lost, right? And then when we come together, and one of us may say, Roberta, how many parties you got going on in the Tupper Love team? She would be able to pull her calendar out and say, you know what, we got about 15 parties. So-and-so's doing a party on this day, so-and-so's doing a Facebook party that day, so-and-so's got a cooking class on that day. it's not like micromanage, but it's just a way to keep track, because she's breaking down numbers and parties for you. You guys don't hear that a lot from me because I don't break down numbers and parties. It's not me, but that's just me. That's not maybe you.
That's
See
my
where I'm
C.
going? That's the C in her. I'm saying, I know that if I do a certain amount of sales, I'm gonna make this amount of money.
Right.
I may not know how to break it down into 5, right? But if I go out one time, I might be able to pull that out once. So it just depends, okay? But everyone knows who they are. So use this calendar as a way, because as you grow and you get more people underneath you, it's harder to keep track if you think that you can do everything here. Okay, so I know that I can't. I'll be 53 this month, I think, or 54, I'm not sure. But I always, right? You're right? Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I have to write. I'm gonna be 53. Thank you, Nora. See, my friends, they know how old I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be 53 this month, so I know I write a lot of things down because I don't remember everything like I did when I was these young whippersnappers, 28s and 25s, right? So stop relying on here and start writing things down. And I'm gonna tell you, as a squad leader, as a captain, you will appreciate knowing what's going on underneath you so that you're not stressing to find out if you're gonna hit your number or not. It's my husband kept saying last night, preparation is key, preparation is key. We have prepared, things happen, right? Life happens, but you know what? We was prepping, right? But we gotta get our life straight first. So anyway, what I'm saying to you with that calendar is each and every one of you should know what is going on in every level of your down line.
I'm glad you said that, because that segues me to the next thing. So we call it a team calendar. You always want to have a team calendar on your team to make sure you know what's going on. And then what I encourage my leaders to do, you guys all know what your party summary sheet looks like, right? You go to reports, hit team, hit unit, whatever. I take this, let me find one that's a good example here. We have teams within teams in Divine, and so I encourage my teams to take their team summary here, and then you segment off your leaders within your leaders, or someone who has the potential to be a leader, MITs, that would be in your squads, yes? I'm trying to make sure I follow lingo, because we just word it different, but we do the same thing. So your MITs, do you know who they are? What does that mean? A manager in training. Someone who has, what's an MIT? Someone who has desire, A, right? And good work ethic is good to have, but isn't always a requirement. We can help you with that.
Anybody in this room have scissors? I'm sorry. Anybody have scissors?
Still not allowed to have them.
Leandra can't
I'm in
have
my room.
Yeah, not for last time.
We don't give them to her. Okay, so
I don't know if we're gonna be inviting them back again.
And it's not for my safety. I didn't think I got my team.
But you're gonna buy this!
So what we encourage you to do is take, before the screens roll, and if they do, you can always go back. Take last month's and print off your team, your unit, okay? Segment them off and look at who had high sales, who has recruits. Those are your MITs to start working with, and go talk to your director. Hey, this is who I'm thinking about that would be a good manager. Can you help me out with this one, okay? So start segmenting them off, because you're going to build managers faster that way too. And I'm sorry, I know we all do things different, but I am a numbers person. But I wasn't before. I had to learn how to be, because I was tired of us not making our goals. So you had to figure it out. So sometimes if you have a lower party average, you need more people. If you have a really high party average, you just need to figure out how to get the people under them to help push them out. So it just kind of, and that's where the numbers come into play, right? So we do this every single month, and then about mid-month reevaluate it. Where are they at? If they did $1,000 last month and it was on parties, and they have parties up, you know it's going to happen again. If they did $1,000 last month and they don't know how they got there, okay, help them figure out how they got there and how they can do it again. Because that is important. Otherwise, you see, man, Charlotte had $1,000 last month. She's going to do it again. She doesn't have any parties up. It's not going to happen again. It could, but you can't count on it because the minute you start counting on stuff from other people, forget it. Then the other thing that you want to look at in that time schedule, you guys have all seen these, the power hour, right? When we feel frustrated that we don't have enough time and what should I be doing with my 15-minute break or my half-hour lunch break? There was times, I use Louise a lot because we've been in this business a long time, we talk 15 times a day. There was many times that she would spend her lunch hour or even half an hour at the park by her house, parked down the street, so her daughter couldn't keep coming in the room trying to talk to her while she's making phone calls. So it's helpful to take this list, true story, right?
Yeah.
And now I have it, and Dominic thinks he needs to be on every video. So
We all like to see him.
I know, he is pretty damn cute. I'm just saying. So what can I do within those times? This one has, first thing first is party time. Your personal business is your personal business in more ways than one. So make it a priority. If you're not holding parties, how do you expect other people to hold parties on your team? Be an example. Yes?
Yes.
And then there's meeting time. Meeting time is / training time. How are you going to learn how to do more if you're not attending? And how are they going to show up if you're not attending? Including your leaders, right? Planning time. That's different for everybody. As business leaders, we spend a day or two a week on the next week and the next month, right? It just depends on what's going on. This week, I can tell you we've all spent more hours than we can count planning. So for a consultant, it's probably a couple hours a day. I would say do it on a Thursday because you can evaluate the rest of the week and close Friday strong, and you can also look at the next week. So look at Thursday as consultants about half an hour, and they're putting in their family schedule, their party schedule. Kind of depends where they're teetering between leader, not leader. You guys as managers or executive managers, probably a couple hours a week because you have, depends on your lineage too. If you have a long lineage, you're going to spend some more time. As directors, you're probably spending 4 or 5 hours a day, don't you think, on a Thursday?
I'll fit in every day.
No, not every day. You don't have that much time. Probably 4 or 5 hours on
On a week.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe more sometimes, depends.
Yeah.
But as business leaders, we spend a good day doing all of that. So it just depends on your lineage. Louise has 13, I think, managers under her, something, 9 or 10, I don't know. 9, 13. So she has like 6 managers in training right now, so that's different for her as it would be for a brand new director that has, a couple managers. It's gonna look different for everybody. So then lastly would be coaching and connecting time. That's for you and for them. So do you get coaching every single week? And that again is going to look different for people. Louise and I spend a lot of time together, but we still have one-on-one coaching every single month. And every one of my leaders meet with me at the very beginning of every single month to set out the plan. That's just what we do. And then they sit down with their future leaders. The last thing that I want to share with you guys, I think, is leading with your heart checklist for success so that you can connect with your team. So I'm going to give you some things, write down what suits you. Number 1 is hold a dream interview with your potential leaders, those MITs in your group. You should be also holding 3 personal recruit interviews every single month, 3 personal. And then helping your team to build that. As a leader, you should be holding 2 parties a week, dating 4 new parties a week. If you're not able to hold all parties every single week, that's what you build a team for. You can dovetail them out. You should also always be attending every rally and every webinar that you possibly can. As leaders, my leaders know they're expected to show up to meetings. As a director, you sign a contract that says you'll be at every single meeting via Tupperware. Welcome calls to your new consultants. Sharita told you that. Team recognition and love notes. That looks different too. I'm terrible at little cards. Some of you are super good at it. I send you a little message on Messenger. Little hearts. Those little emoji things that come up, a little dog that farts a green heart. I think that's hysterical. I said that one, do I not? Collecting team parties on that team calendar. Sharita just said that one.
What was that again?
Collecting the team parties for your team calendar. On your planning calendar, we go to the dollar store and buy those little plastic ones because they're convenient and little thin things. Something on me has to be thin. Coaching with your director. to turn in your team parties, because your director needs to know what's happening within the team, right? We just talked about these ones. Review your progress towards the end of the month, your unit personal sales, your reds. How many of you guys know what reds mean? How many of you are like, what's a red? Okay, still kind of new, right? So when you print off that team summary and there's numbers over on the end column in red, that means they're going in active. So you want to engage and go back with them. So I would call them, hey, Becky, how are we going to make this 250 happen this month? What can I do for you? The other thing you can do is pull out the party perk sheet, the last one that has everything on it. And I would say, Becky, pick which gifts you're going to earn this month. Well, I don't know. I like this one, this one. We'll earn them both. So how are we going to get there? Because if you dangle carrots in front of people, they're more likely to do something. Don't spend your extra money. You guys, Tupperware has amazing gifts lately. How many of you guys are earning all the gifts lately?
Yeah.
Wait till you see what's coming. So, there's a lot of stuff out there that you can earn. Don't spend your extra money if you don't have to. Earn whatever your business leader and directors put out there and go spend Tupperware's money. That's what it's there for. Use your own paycheck for yourself. And then reviewing the confident start. You should always know when your people have confident start dates and end dates. Because it's really disheartening when they call you, go, I didn't know that I could earn my cookware last week. I didn't know my date ended. That is your job to make sure they know. They don't know what they don't know. And that's frustrating that they don't earn that because they didn't know. Then monthly, make sure you're mailing a sales flyer and samples to those that you don't see. There is people who don't show up. Margaret mails a flyer and a sample sheet to her people every single month on her base team so that they are at least connecting that way. Because some people, how many of you have heard, they don't have Facebook? I'm like, it is 1919 almost. But they're not going to do it. So how can you connect with them? Because some people just aren't going to. Make sure you set goals. Goals are not just about setting a number that you're going to try and achieve. Goals back it with something. Are you going to go on a shopping spree? Cash Christmas? What are you working towards? Hold team meetings. You can do that obviously with your business leader, your director, how that looks for you. And then create your UPS list or that MIT and attend leadership training always. Your business leaders spend a lot of time and effort on getting things together. We appreciate when you guys are there 100% because when you're not there, we feel like we're doing something wrong. So I encourage you guys to get your people there because they're going to show up if you show up. Yes?
Is there any way I could take a picture of that? Because I was
Yes.
eating
Oh,
and I
for
was
sure.
trying to write notes.
I'll post it for you guys too, and I'll get it to Shane.
Thank you. I was like,
I can't write fast enough, sorry. I talk fast on a limited time. And I always go over. You know. So I think, did I get everything on there?
I just wanted to say one thing. So one thing, my team knows where our growth came from this year. Samantha wanted to introduce that at the beginning, that we were growing.
Hugely.
So, and one of that comes to the fact that, and I'm trying to get my business leaders all partnered with me to kind of do the same thing, because I think in our region, if we all do the same thing, our region will be the best region ever. Not that we're not, but we will continue. And so we will continue doing what we started this year, and that I worked with a small group of people every single month. That's something that I did this year so that it alleviated my leaders from having to worry about that so much. I really wanted them to worry more so about their personal sales, their schedule, and let me work with those new people, identify those new people, but then let me take them under my wing. And so that's how we have promoted managers every single month, stepped up managers every month, produced, now we have 4 directors in our company. When we started the year off with 1, and 1 new organizational leader. Right, 2 car qualifiers, 1 will qualify in January, and so then we'll have 4 people driving cars besides myself. So we're not gonna stop what we started because it worked.
I've
And-
always said what you do now shows up later.
Yeah,
So do you
so-
want it to start now or you want it
Yeah.
to start much
So
later?
we won't not do that, we'll continue to do that. But I think for you guys to really understand is that there's stuff that's been given, you take that and process it, you know what you're good at and what you're not. And at the end of the day, you need to maintain your personal sales and personal recruiting. That is the most important thing for you to do. Personal sales, personal recruiting. Okay, remember directors, your captains, you work a little bit more closer. Squad leaders, you guys gotta maintain, right? But you need that help and you need to partner. At the end of the day, you're all loyal to your team and then your company is on top. So Samantha and I compete against each other a lot for fun because we like it. And
It's
it
not
makes,
fun.
and but it makes each of us better. So I'm gonna tell you that. Happy competition. And so, she
So
always
they
is
beat
looking,
us.
and I'm
You
always
guys
looking.
beat us for third quarter.
So anyway, now we're gonna bring in Pam, because Pam's gonna bring in some stuff that is super important. So take your notebooks out again, don't put them away, okay? So, I want you guys to know that the one thing that I do know about Pam, and I'm gonna let Samantha tell what she knows about Pam. Pam, I've known Pam a long time, and, I've known Pam a long time, and, I didn't tell you guys anything about me when I first started, but I've been in Tupperware 28 years. I have 5 children, 3 I gave birth to, 2 that came along with the package. Our whole company is based around the vision of my older son. Marcel's my youngest, his twin brother, who passed away when they were 8. So, sunflowers and all of that has to do with that. And I believe that God brings you things that you need, puts things in your making, and has you walk. And so we have that amazing part of our company. I am a grandma with 4 grandsons, no granddaughters. Oldest grandson is 17. He just got 7 full ride offers to play football at the next level. So, excited about that. All the way down to his brother. He's like 6'5", his brother's like 6 feet. Then we got a 10-year-old who's like this to me, and then we got little Caleb who runs everything. So this is a family business, and you do a lot of family things. But to get to Pam, because I needed to tell you that, my husband hated Tupperware when I first joined Tupperware too. He thought it was dumb, and I'd never drive a car. 20 some odd cars later, okay, the second trip I took him on, and he shut his mouth from then on, was a trip to Hawaii over 4th of July week. Now that particular week, my husband was my son's T-ball coach. That week they had pictures, and they had some kind of championship game. He went to Hawaii. He didn't stay, even though he was the coach. Our older son went and coached. Okay, went and took the pictures. My 2 sisters came up from LA and stayed with our kids. We went for a week, all expense paid trip by Tupperware, and we met Pam and her husband on the elevator. And Marlo was having was he having that allergic reaction at that time, or was that the second time? But anyway, Marlo, he'll kill me if I tell you this, but the Mai Tai, he figured out how to make his own Mai Tais because someone over in the island told him to go to the ABC store and get his own passion fruit and get this stuff. So he kind of had too much passion fruit and had an allergic reaction, and his throat swelled up, and we were on the elevator. But then we met Pam. That's where we met Pam and her husband in Hawaii, and Marlo forever loved her after that, right? And then there is a picture. She did. She gave him food, and there's a picture that Tupperware has in their possession on video, and a picture of Marlo dropping his pants to get a lava at the luau. So there you go. So Pam's a great party girl. Pam is very good at what she does. So take it away.
So I was on my trip, and they were like, changing your bathing suits because we're gonna go in the water and all. And this is 2011, and I'm freaking out because I can't find my bathing suit bottoms. And Leslie, our regional, is like, well, just go buy a bathing suit. They were like $60, and I was like, I don't have an extra $60 to buy a bathing suit I'm not gonna wear. And she said, just wear your capris. Who cares? So I was doing my thing. I had my bathing suit top on, wear my capris. Then we got in with the dolphins, and the dolphins were like, hey, now those are not legs. So I'm like, shoot, and the dolphin kept coming in and coming out, and I'm like, well, I'll just take my pants off. And of course, you know, what is his name? Who is the, he's one of the assistants for like Stanova and them. The really thin guy, not Asian, what is he? Oh, I can't think of his name. But he's standing right next to me. So then every time I saw, but you know, I had underwear on, which is like a bathing suit. And our regional was there and everything. So then afterwards, whenever I saw him, he was like, hey. And I'm like, and then we'd be talking to somebody, she took her pants off. Whole story from then on, but I thought it was okay. It was a little water, you know, things are distorted. So, take your pants off. To be successful in Tupperware, you gotta take your pants off. You only stand Some involve dysrobing, some do not. But that's okay. And I know you're probably thinking, are we gonna hear about more calendars and planning? Yes, you are. Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
That's right.
I hope that anybody in this room came here today thinking, well, I hope I become unsuccessful. I would like to leave this meeting and just not do the job anymore. No. So we want to help you because everyone comes in for different reasons. If we went around the room, there'd probably be all kinds of reasons. They always say the number one reason people come into the business is for the discount. I didn't care. We didn't even have any money. I was on welfare. We had moved from Vegas to Southern California back home. And my husband couldn't find a job. I couldn't find a job, and then I was pregnant. Going in and trying to find a job. I'd like to know if you'd like to hire me. I'm very exhausted and it's hot in Southern California. John couldn't find a job. He ended up going back to school, so we were on welfare for a year. So Matthew's my welfare baby, thank you, California. But he lives in Orange now, pays all kinds of taxes and everything, so he is more than giving back. But when I signed up to sell, they said, you should sell Tupperware. So I was looking for a job after Matthew was born and all to try and get away from my kids for just a little bit. Because they're 16 months apart, he was not yet 2 and Ryan was 3, and I just wanted to get away from the kids and a little bit, and no one would hire me. I wasn't even pregnant, no one would hire me. Because I went in saying, if my kids are sick, I can't show up. If there's a birthday party or an event in the family, I can't show up because we both have big, huge families, and they all lived there at the time. And I said, all these things, and I share a car with my husband, so sometimes if he has to have the car, I can't show up. But I'm a good worker.
Positive reinforcement.
And Tupperware said, we don't care, and I'm the host y'all want. 3 parties a year, always got my host gift specials for 3 years in a row. And they kept trying to recruit me. I wouldn't even attend a rally. They host for nothing because I thought, you're going to do something, you people are weird, I like your product, but I don't want to be around you. I mean, I like you people, but not that much. And then my last party I had, my mom and my girlfriend from high school said, oh my God, why don't you just sell it? Just give it a try, for God's sakes. We're tired of coming to these parties. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it for a month and I'll never do it again. So you always want to make sure that you give everyone the same opportunity, whether it is hosting, whether it is selling Tupperware, and you want to make sure that you are not only playing for success, but you are walking that plan so that others can follow. Because who knew that back in 1988 I sold over $40,000 in a year, every year. No, a big party in 1988 was $200. It was like, oh my God, I had a $200 party and I sold over $40,000 as a consultant. They kept trying to get me to be a manager, and I'm like, I don't want to do that either. I'm not going to be a manager. I didn't want to sell Tupperware. I don't want to be a manager. And always find people who are helpers. I'm a helper as best I can. And the president, Galen Olson, was going to come to our rally if we had like this huge amount of managers promoted. And we needed 2 more. And back then, you had to say, I want to be a manager, and you had to sign papers. And Jerry Zelsky, who is Smooth Sailing, said to me and this other gal, we just need you to do this. And so I said the same thing. I said, when I signed up, fine, I'll do it for a month, and I won't ever do it again. And then in 6 weeks, I had my car. And I'm like, I could probably be a manager. It seems pretty good, now I have a car. We don't have to share anymore. And the story goes from there. But in the beginning, I didn't grow up in a family, and maybe you all did, you didn't, where we had hopes and dreams and goals. We were just working class people. It wasn't like you were going to be a movie star, you could be the next talent, you could do this, we weren't raised like you can't do things, but we weren't just in that environment where you can do it all. So coming into Tupperware and setting goals and having plans and a calendar and all of that was totally, I didn't know anything about that. So it took me a while to catch on to that. And thank God for Samantha and her seed. But thank God for the seas in the world, because Sherita and I, we can't do it. I've tried. I would like to buy a seed. It's like, I do those darn testings. It's like there's none there. It's like, I am sorry. So learning how to color code, learning how to do planning, calendars, and planning for success. My business leaders used to ask me, well, how do you sell $1,000 every week back then? And I'd be like, I don't know. Well, if you don't know how you did it, how can you repeat it? Well, I just repeated it. I just loved what I did so much, and I didn't care how many parties I did. But how can you teach someone else to do that? You can't teach someone else how to love what you do. We can all be successful. We can all do the same thing, but we're all going to put our own thumbprint on it. So then they made me really think about what is it I'm doing that enables us to date and hold the parties and not have the cancellation rate and not have that kind of stuff. And some of it is just being fun. So I always say, if you're a super fun person, you probably need to calm down a little bit. And if you're not fun, you need to step it up. I'm not a fun person. So I started wearing jewelry and all kinds of fun things to make myself appear funner than I am. Because you have to find something. So you have to figure out a way to be more like an I, or to be more like, you have to, what you're not strong in, you have to figure that out. Because in this kind of business, that is appealing to people. Where I want to get in there and I just want to get the job done. Well, they would like to have a little fun. So you kind of have some fun and remember it's about them. How can you do that and keep to your plan and your schedule? Because all you people who like to have all that fun, you ruin a schedule. It's like, there was no schedule when everyone wants to have fun for hours and hours. It's like, stop it. So stop having fun. So when you look at your calendar, what I started doing, because Samantha's exactly correct, you have to plan for vacations and then figure out how to have them. My husband, unfortunately, does not love his job anymore. There was one guy, there's that one person that everyone loves. Yeah. Oh. There's that one person everyone loves, and if they leave or something happens, John had a coworker who was like the heart and soul of the shop, and he passed away unexpectedly at a young age. And the shop has not been the same since, and then they got some new leadership in who really need. I'm like, John, I can go in and train them. I could help them be better leaders. And John's like, I don't think they'd appreciate that. Well, maybe they would. And so they all would, other people would. And so, and he's a mechanic, he's been a mechanic all his life, and he's now 56, and he has arthritis in his hands and his knees, and he just has 2 hand braces. And when he was driving the car yesterday, I said, it looks like you have super cool racing gloves on. He goes, yeah, and super cool, they don't match or anything. So they're like from the Dollar Tree racing things. He has a knee brace, he has all these things, and he doesn't love going to work. And so he nickels and dimes his vacation. Because, when you don't want to do something, so like now we had to figure out how he could get here today because I wanted him to come with me because he had to take a day of vacation. I'm like, oh, get a vacation already, you're killing me, man. So so I started taking those calendars that we gave you and I lay them out. He can't see, and I have a hard time seeing the whole year when you're flipping a calendar. So we take the dining room table and I lay out all the calendars. And I put in like people's birthdays and all these kind of things and what days he automatically gets off, like he has Veterans Day off from work. So I put all those in, and we look at where can we utilize his vacation, we do this, where it does not adversely affect my business. So we always took vacation when the kids were little, went down to San Bernardino to see the grandmas and all, around Easter week. Because I didn't do a lot of parties during Easter week, he had an extra day off. So we sit there and we do that so that at the end of the year, for this year because he had more things wrong with them, we have it so that he can see a light at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes it could be your light at the end of the tunnel, it might be a family member, but those kind of people need to see that, if I work this many days, I get 4 days off in a row. Well, I can do that. But you can't see that when you're just turning a page. So those calendars, laying them out, are very effective. You can also see where are our 4-week months, where are our 5-week months, because you want to always take vacation, if ever possible, in a 5-week month, because you have that extra buffer, right? And I train my team, you can always make money on when you're going on vacation, because I don't know if you guys get asked that question, do you get paid vacations? And I say, absolutely we do. Not only do we get free trips and all, but I just work a little bit before and after, and then I make the same amount of money. I used to do a bunch of parties before I left and have my date book stacked when I got home. But now what I do is like that everyone wins when I call them a mission. Last year, the last day of the year, I got home Thursday, and Friday I had my host come over and I sold $2,000. And I had been on vacation. So there are ways to do that, but you have to look at what does the year look like, what does your year look like? and take into consideration how old are my parents. I mean, as you get older, you have to do all that kind of stuff, which can be good and can be bad. But you want to make sure that you are doing that, and you want to make sure that you get not a calendar, but you get a planner. You need to plan your life. I go through, and my hair appointments are set for the whole year. Now, every once in a while, do they do a business leader thing, and they're like, we decided to change the date. Okay. So I have to tweak a few things, but my yearly woman, my doctor, everything is in there for the whole year. So I don't have to guess about that stuff. And when I hear people, they're like, oh, I need to make a hair appointment. What do you mean? I don't have a hair appointment. I go every 4 weeks because I'm very gray. John's like, just let it go. He has like 4 gray hairs. I'm like, shut up. So you look at that, and then you want to really look at where do you want to work. And I've bought this for years. So if you're fighting this, please take it from a fighter and know that it really is true. I used to do parties anytime, any day, and whenever. They really will go where you want them to go. If I offer Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I try not to work weekends so that I can spend that with John. Every once in a while I'll throw one in because there's an event or something like that, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And sure enough, when you offer people those dates, and just don't budge. And if you have a hard time and you're like, oh, is that so, I'm sorry, I can't, oh, well, you want to go someplace else? Don't look at her. I have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And don't break. Don't look at her. She will break before you will. And she will take one of those dates. It's like when we used to be asking for all the information, I used to have a hard time. Should I load your address, your work phone, your social security? You know, when you're getting kit papers, if that bothers you, don't look at her. You know what? Sometimes people are taking your information at doctors, they're just looking at their little sheet. Don't look at them if you're going to break. Because you don't, never mind, you don't need to sign up. I don't need any of your information. So don't just look away. But they will take the dates that you want. And guess what? If they can't, you can give it to somebody else. Give somebody on your team who goes with you to parties and observes. They don't need me. They need someone who does my party. You know what I mean? They don't need Pam Wilson to be there. They need Pam Wilson's party because that's what they saw. And if it's an event or something, they don't even need that because they don't know what the heck I do. So it's all good. So you look at your calendars and look at November. You guys, November has 3 weeks left. If your November hasn't gone, our November has not gone the way it's supposed to. If your November has not gone the way it's supposed to, do not throw in that towel. You get out. What I do is I like to look at 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and a year, and then I keep evaluating. So that planning time, I was shaking my head because our last business leader used to say, you need to plan all day. Thursday's an all-day planning day. So I'd go in my office and I'd sit there. All day? What am I doing all day? Then when I became a business leader, I understood why she needed all day. But I'm like, I'm a director and I have managers, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be planning on. So I don't think you need a whole day as a director unless you're, planning everything. I fold my underwear at this time. But I like to think about my party setup, and I work to help my team do this. You should have this week all cemented in, and next week, because we're already in this week. Those parties should be cemented in. You shouldn't be wondering if they're holding. The Facebook event, the mailing list, whatever you do should be out and gone. The third week out should be a little bit, you know they're there, but you're kind of working on getting there. The fourth week out, unless you have a solid, 3 parties. The fourth week out should be pretty open because you're working in the moment. Because I tell you what, and they had to beat this into me, the closer you date in, the better everything is going to be. The closer you date in your coaching with your director, the closer you date in your parties, your rallies, your recruit interviews. The time goes by, I don't even know if I'm going to be alive in 4 weeks, let alone where you're going to be at, right? We have too many things that happen in our life. But if you date it now and you hold it now, you know the marketing. It is much easier to do 2 parties a week than it is 1 a month or 4 the last week. You know what the marketing is, you don't know where your kit is, and I'll tell you this, and I probably shouldn't, but every once in a while I step away from doing parties because I'm so busy with my business leader stuff. And then I'm like, oh, I'd like to make some more money. So you put parties in. I was standing there, John came home in the kitchen counter, I was like, what? I'm like, I am making baguettes. I was stamping and I was stickering and I was doing all this stuff. Just always have them ready. Just like big months, we have January, we have May, we have October. But how about if when you order your catalogs and stuff at the new catalog for like your January, just make up 20, 40 paquettes. The catalog, the order forms are going to be good. Now make sure you're always using your order forms up because you never know when something's going to change. Whether they're going to not have long, they're not going to have short, something's going to change on it. Hopefully one day they'll take the food tax off.
Yeah,
That confuses everybody.
Make it credit card. So use up your supplies, but make up your paquettes because the only thing you need to change is your flyer, right? And if you're using that host flyer that they come out with, otherwise your order forms are the same, your catalogs are the same, your 40 and 4, whatever it is you put in there, it's all the same. So then you're not running around like a fool, like I was, trying to do the 2 parties and then trying to get them closed. And you know what? I'm still perfecting that. So if anybody has perfected closing every single party at the party every single time.
I do it every time.
Oh my God!
Every
Okay,
time.
I'm just gonna talk
I
to
close
you
my
later.
party
Yes.
every party.
40 and 4.
40 and 4. I'll make sure Sharita has those. I put in, and I'm doing some training later on today. A 40 and 4 is when people say, I don't know anybody, I don't have enough people, or when you're party planning them, you're thinking, who's going to be attending? Oh, I don't know. It says 40 and 4, so it's 40 people in 4 minutes.
Gotcha.
Then we want you to write down 4 relatives, 4 neighbors, so you help them out. Well, who do you
Use the
think?
Frank list. Use the Frank
It's
list.
like a Frank list. It's like that, but it's 40 and
For
4.
the host.
And I use it for I put it in every packet, even Facebook ones, even catalog party ones, all of them, because yeah, they're not coming to a party, but who do you need to get a catalog to? Who's going to get the email link? Who's, if I have them code the side so that they can get going. So when you look at your calendar, you should be writing down what we used to do in the old days. And maybe you guys all know this. If Sharita said, or Samantha said, or I said, I want you to beat your highest weekend sales this week. Do you know what your highest weekend sales this year was? Back in the old days, remember
We used to know
the
that.
old, well, we used to fill it in the top.
At the top of
How
our
many,
date
there was little
Yeah.
boxes, how many parties did you hold, how many attended, how many dated, so you know everything about your week. You should still do that, because then it takes you half an hour of wasted time trying to figure out what your biggest week was. You should already know that. Also up there, I like to put the marketing, because when you're planning with your team, connecting with them, finding out, you can open up your date book and go, ooh, remember this week this is really bad, I don't know what the gift is this week.
It's the.
Store's a lot box, I think. And the store's a lot box.
I tell you what, I love the Store's Lot boxes, and it's red, and it has the 70s, you gotta have it. And that flask and
I want
peacock,
that so much.
I can't stand myself. I don't like blue, I don't like teal. That peacock, oh my God, I just love it. If you don't, but you know what I found out? I asked one of my leaders, I said, does so-and-so want this gift? Oh, I don't know if she knows. What? That's part of your connecting and cheering. When I say find something to cheer,
Yes.
find someone
It's a
to
party
cheer
part.
them.
Yeah.
When you call them and you let them know they don't answer the phone, leave them a message. And you know what I do? I text Sheree and say, Sheree, I just left you a voicemail, because maybe Sheree doesn't listen to her. You have people who don't listen to their messages. But if I text them and say, it was too much to text, but really fast to talk, please check your voicemail. And then they hear your voice and you're all excited. So put that inside there, because when you're connecting with them and when you're cheering them and encouraging them, all you have to do is open up your planner should have everything in it. Everything in it. Then you don't need 42. I even use the back for my notes. That's my notebook. If I have to, I could just take this and I have what I need. Now I did change from the Law of Attraction back to the Passion Planner because it's smaller, and no, it didn't come with Harry Potter stuff. Someone said, how'd you get the Harry Potter one? I didn't see it. I just like stickers. So I got the Harry Potter stickers and I put them on there.
I never
But-
thought like mine don't have no stickers on. Where you get
I'm
that?
not gonna pull them off. They're leathery stickers, they're super fun. But this one's even smaller, and I have a bad hip, so I go by weight. So I'm like, I like the Law of Attraction, but this one was smaller and a little bit lighter, easier on my hip, I'm good to go. So figure out what works for you. I like what Cheryl says. take today what's gonna work for you and leave the rest for later. As you take your notes, what I like to do, and when I was trained on note taking, I thought that was brilliant, I never knew that. If you have a question you wanna ask somebody, you write a box around, so that when you look at your notes and they say, does anybody have any questions? And you're like, shoot, I had some. You have a box around, you can look at that and go, oh, I have a question on this. And then I also I highlight certain key words. I star things I want to go back to and things that I thought were worthy enough to write down, but I don't think are my personality, I'm going to leave them alone. And then someday when my business is struggling, I might go back and read that portion because maybe I should have highlighted it, maybe I should have started with it. And you want to make sure that when you are addressing your vacations and your planners and all that, find a planner that you will work and you will carry and you will look at every day. It does not matter how much money, thousands of dollars, 50 cents, doesn't matter how much you spend, it's how are you going to use it. You have to open your planner every day. One day, early in my career in Southern California, I didn't show up at a party. My host called me and she said, where are you? I said, I'm home. She said, everyone's here. And I said, party's tomorrow. She said, no, it's not, it's now. I'm like, what? And then I looked, because I knew I didn't have anything to do that day, Tupperware, so I didn't open my date book. Luckily, they loved me. You gotta love your people so they love you back.
Right.
Because they were just thrilled that I showed up then. And so I got off the phone, you know it. John, I need the car, I need to get the John, the kids are running. I got in the car and drove over there, but they did their socializing beforehand. It worked out really good and they loved me already because they knew it was weird for me. It's like if I don't show up on time, generally, something has happened. It's not like, oh, she's always late. So you have to look at that too. If you're always late, you're failing to plan. You have to, when the last business leader we had, when she moved to town, she'd always call me. I know it's almost exactly how much time it takes to get everywhere. Okay, I'm here. How long is it going to take me to get over there? And I would think about it and I'd tell her, you were correct. I'm like, I know. I drive this town a lot. So find a planner that you love and will carry and look at every day. I have one of my leaders, and God bless her, she is the biggest love. And she's finally writing in her planner, but she's not opening it. So I'm like, honey, you've got to open it. Did you get that done? No, I didn't get that done. Oh, I forgot to open my planner. And you know what I told her? I said, until you get to the point where you open your planner every day, I had one gal who put notes everywhere. On her, she'd go to the bathroom in the morning and there'd be a big piece of paper that would say, did you make your phone calls today? Not a tiny post-it. Have you contacted your team? I walked into her house and there was papers taped everywhere. I was like, what is this? And she goes, I can't remember. And you know what about that? I said, Ryan Jane, my poor family, I just throw them.
That's okay.
She doesn't take birth control pills. She gets that shot or whatever. And I said, I don't like that shot. I don't like birth control pills. She goes, I said, but I like the pills better than the shot. Why don't you do that? And she goes, because Mother, it's very easy to remember to take your pill every day, but it's even easier to forget.
Absolutely.
You know, everything works until it does not. So you have to figure out a way. And if you need to post papers all over your house until you remember, open your day book.
My husband will lose his mind
Oh, me
if
too.
I take some papers
Yeah.
anywhere. Let me
I'm
tell you.
so OCD, I'd be like,
No,
Yeah.
he loses his mind.
But you know what? If it helps them to become better, at some point you can take the papers down. But some personalities really, she's an IS, she really needs that.
Oh, God.
She needs, yeah. God bless her.
Right?
But you really want to make sure that
Easy killers. Easy.
yeah.
hey, I'm a DS.
We're good people too.
A DS.
Are you one of those too? Oh my God.
Louise.
You're one of those.
We're one of those people. Make sure that you put all your stuff in, like Chad was just asking me, when is Jubilee? You have to put in all Tupperware stuff. Do they make changes sometimes, especially because we have a new president? Absolutely. But I pencil it in. I cannot, and if you don't care about whiteout, I can't write in pen and then white out and stuff. It's very upsetting to me.
There's erasable pens out there that are amazing.
Erasable pens? I have not seen
Yeah,
them
but if they
all.
They disappear.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he must have another one. Go ahead and show us.
We all need a training on that. Because I can't stand scribbling in my date book. And I got some colored pencils and I'm working on that for highlighting. Because highlighting with highlighters is upsetting to me, but I think I can do this. I got the pencils. So I can pencil it in. And I also, what helped me is with one of the managers, she took her calendar and she only highlighted the bottom portion. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And she said, well, I don't want people to think I party all day. I do other things, so I only party in the evening. So she didn't have like the 10th all highlighted. She had like, it's a Saturday, she does afternoon parties, so she only had the afternoon highlighted. So it doesn't look like she's partying all day, and they know she's not available in the morning, she's not available in the evening, she's available at 2 in the afternoon, and that's when she's available. So that's the kind of thing we're talking about. You want to find things that work for you. You want to put in Tupperware things. We know we have big weeks in January, right? We know Tupperware asks us to go above and beyond. Can you find more places to do parties? No, I can't. Then what can you do? Can you do an Everyone Wins? Can you do a mission? Can you do when I do Facebook parties, it's a regular party. It's a scheduled date and time.
Good.
What? Oh, she's fine. It's a scheduled date and time. So it's Saturday, November 10th at 2 o'clock. So I send her a packet. I set up a Facebook event like I do everybody else. And then at 2 o'clock, I go live on that page. And she usually has people at her house. It's somewhere that's not, not around my neighborhood or in Reno, obviously. And they sit there and John films me, and then so he can say, Louise wants to know what that was. Because I do an hour demonstration in my home because I can't do all that other stuff. My brain doesn't work that way, so what can I do?
Yeah.
So don't just say I can't do that.
Yeah.
Because you can do some part of it, you just got to figure out what works for you. So I can still offer for the new young people. And my 2 recruits this week are both under 30. I love new people. I love people. So you have to be relatable to everybody too. You can't be that old lady, although my party, I used to love Brittany. She came in and she said, well, I know I'm late, it was her mom's party, and she said, but I got her an order, and I said, because she used to sell me, I said, you only got her 1 order? Well, I was going to get another order, but this older lady, she's elderly, the thing, didn't think she needed any, she's 61. I said, Brittany, I'm 58. Oh, well, you don't act like she does. I'm like, and I thought, because she is a young gal who used to be on my team for a long time, and I've been doing parties with her mom since she was like that big, and it is how you act.